Let's read some good stories. How I achieved malicious compliance with tea. Hey all, I thought I would share one of my favorite stories of following someone's request and making them rethink their words. The main players are me, my younger brother, and the teacher we will call Mr. Shane. This happened in high school in my senior year, and is my favorite story of being a smartass. We had this teacher we will call Mr. Shane. He was an older, very strict teacher who came to my rural Midwest town from inner city Chicago, so he thought he could handle just about anything a student threw at him. No one liked Mr. Shane. He was rude, loud, and for him, if you didn't do what he said, it was a one-way ticket to the office. Even the principal got tired of him sometimes. I was a quiet, nerdy, metalhead teenager who was on track to graduate early and earn a couple of awards from the district. I put forth the effort to get along with everyone. My younger brother hated Mr. Shane for many reasons, like reading mine and his IEP's very confidential stuff normally in front of the class and managed to get away with it. Needless to say, Mr. Shane was incredibly unpopular. I used to bring a can of Arizona tea with me to school because it's dirt cheap and actually pretty tasty. If you've had it, you will understand how good it can be. Mr. Shane had a problem with this because I'm pretty sure if he wasn't asserting his dominance, he thought he wasn't doing his job. I didn't distract people with the tea, but he was fed up with me and my brother calling him out on his stuff, so one day he told me not to bring any more because I didn't bring enough for everyone else. Challenge accepted. The very next day I stopped at the grocery store on my way to school and picked up 2 gallons of Arizona green tea, along with red Solo cups. I let slip to one of my best friends that's also in the class, and he could barely contain his excitement. When the time for the class came, Mr. Shane walked in and looked smug up until he saw me giving my classmates Arizona green tea. I even offered him a glass and he exploded in anger and sent me to the office, before confiscating all my tea and cups. When I told the secretaries, they laughed and sent me in to talk to the vice principal. The vice principal was incredibly amused by my story, and a few minutes later my brother came into the office as well, with the gallons of tea and cups. Apparently, Mr. Shane lost it and was ranting to himself the rest of the school day over disrespectful students. He stopped teaching after that school year, and I like to think I had a hand in that. And on to the second story. You don't want me to waste time by following procedures. Okay. I was watching r/slash today, and one of the stories on his video reminded me of this. Like the story in his video, I worked at, for legal reasons let's call it Walmart myself. And I fucking hated the spill rule. Here's the thing. If you don't follow the spill procedure, you get bitched out. If you do, you get bitched out for wasting time. For context, for those that have the absolute blessing of never working the hell that is Walmart. Procedure states, you have to wait by the spill until another associate comes by. If it's a bad spill, you're supposed to help clean up the spill. I've got millions of Walmart horror stories, and this is one of many. We had a customer knock about 3 glasses off the shelf, breaking them. Per procedure, I waited by the spill. The next 10 minutes, Yeti to backroom over and over and over and over on the intercom. It must have been announced about 4 times in under 5 minutes. For context, I pulled pallets of freight from the backroom to the sales floor, so it wasn't life-threatening, I knew. Finally, another associate sees me, gets a broom, and we clean up the spill. As soon as I get to the backroom, my supervisor bitched me out saying, you are needed here, not out there. You leave that to the sales team. The next day when I came in, I was written up for wasting time. When I explained what had happened, I was again told, well, next time you should just leave it. Yeah, see where this is going, right? That's sweet MC. About a week later, we had a new guy working chem. Now, with the backroom, we have to pull everything off trucks and stack it on pallets, then pull those to the floor. He starts to pull the most unstable pallet I've ever seen. The thing was leaning before he left. He pulls it to the sales floor and gets all the way to chem with me behind him. When it goes, boxes on boxes fall, and laundry detergent and fabric softener go everywhere. We're talking at least 7 bottles worth, all over the floor and quickly into the women's apparel section. I pull my pallet around and keep walking. As I'm coming back, I see him standing there. Looking back, I feel bad for doing this, but at that moment I didn't give a single solitary fuck. I said, you'll need some speedy dry, ask Dick, our supervisor who bitched me out, fake name for some, and walked away. When management asked why I didn't help, I straight up told them, you told me not to worry about spills, that I should leave it for others, and you wrote me up. I'm just following your instructions. I didn't get written up and never got bitched at for following procedures again. And on to the third story. You are the account manager. Good. Now they are yours to lose. OCL. TLDR. My boss asked me to just stick to my job role and not go above and beyond. I comply, leading to the loss of a huge client and potential revenues. I work as a manager for a reputed institution in the learning, development, and consulting field. The person who hired me 5 years ago had to quit soon after within 6 months since, and hence I had a new boss. We also grew from a team of 3 to 8 soon after. Now the person who hired me was a wonderful, patient, respectful man who had a genuine interest in his role, his department, and the firm. The new boss, on the other hand, who had held various posts within the organization before getting this role, is a straight-up self-obsessed, narcissistic, arrogant prick who is intolerable when he's having a good run and a straight-up jackass when things didn't go his way. I have been reporting to him for close to 5 years now, and I have grown a lot during that period. I had completed my second master's, gained respect from all our clients, and I always go above and beyond when it comes to client delight. Fast forward to this Monday. We are back at work since last March's lockdowns. Just that day, we were called on a meeting to discuss the past year and the way forward. We have had a rough year financially, and we had to achieve some ambitious targets while giving the department head, and no, my boss is only a middle manager and not the department head, a quick rundown on my key accounts. I had outlined a few conversations I had been having with few prospective new clients. He was impressed. Later after the meeting, my boss called me aside and gave a very crude speech about how I should focus more on my delivery areas and only pass on future business prospects to him since he's the account manager. He meant I shouldn't even be continuing to hold even preliminary conversations and inquiries with current clients for future prospects and potential clients. It was an embarrassing conversation for me because I have not been getting enough recognition and have been losing my interest in continuing with my current employer. And I was only going above and beyond. My sales wouldn't be rewarded anyway with any monetary compensation or bonus. This talk flooded me with memories of all of the times my boss had been treated me wrong. QMC, I have since been calling off all prospective clients and passing off his contact as my boss, as the one to continue discussions with, and that I would not be part of the calls, since I had developed a mutual respect and trust with all of my current and prospective clients. They were curious to know why I'd not be taking our discussions forward, a huge departure from the way they have known me as a client-facing manager, and generally as a person. I have simply been telling them what my boss told me. I'm simply a manager and my boss is the account manager. I should focus more on my activities, and one of them is passing on all business prospects to him. I also promptly told them that I'm not allowed to answer their queries even if they are preliminary. Now some of my clients have been with us for as long as I have been here. Some of the new prospects are from the network I have built through my current clients and their friends. Our biggest client, easily a sixth of our yearly revenues, was shocked. While they knew my reporting structure, they also knew I have been the foundation and pillar of our relationship. They have continually attributed the success of our work ties to me. They also have seen how my boss treats me. They promptly shot an email to my department head and the head of the institution that they are currently reviewing our ties on the back of the evolving macroeconomic situations. 2 of the other prospective clients have already told me that they won't be working with people who disrespect their own and have pulled back. Respective, professional, and respectful emails were returned as a reply to my email connecting them with my boss. So I'm off for the weekend with a renewed hate for my workplace. My boss is off for the weekend after losing our biggest client and close to a third of the target financials for the FY 2021 to 2022. Note, we had an abysmal FY 2020 to 2021. My department head is off for the weekend after reviewing some of these emails with my boss. The institution head has called me in for a quick chat next week. Edit, update, my boss just emailed me copying my department head, who already knows about my Monday chat with the institution head, asking to set up a call between us, department head, boss, and me, and my favorite client who contributes about a sixth of our revenues at the same time as my chat with the institution head. I am not acknowledging, responding to the email, because of the weekend. Update, I woke up to a reply email from the department head asking my boss to postpone the call with the client until Wednesday. Boss, further to our discussion, let's move the call with the client to Wednesday. Blah blah blah. And to the 4th story, paranoid flatmate thought I was cheating her. This happened 10 years ago when I was studying abroad in Spain. I had rented a 4-bedroom apartment and then advertised the other rooms, trying to find nice flatmates. The first 2 were great, but I was struggling to find the 4th one. There were some people interested, but I just had a bad feeling about them. In the end, I decided to accept this Russian girl, against my better judgment. She was trouble from the beginning, always in a bad mood, always acting as if the world owed her something. She said many times she hated Spain, and I'm thinking, why are you here then? She always seemed paranoid that she was being cheated by everyone. For example, once she found out I didn't pay the same amount as the other 3. Obviously I paid less, I was the one who found the flat. It was my name on the contract and all bills. I was liable for all damages. They weren't my friends, I didn't have a contract with them. It was all casual. So she told me it was illegal to sublet, and that if I didn't start paying the same, she'd call the police. I told her it was only illegal if the owner of the property wasn't aware of it. She actually found the number of the owner and called him to complain about me. Luckily, he's a cool guy and told her I have my contract with him. Whatever you agreed with him is your problem. I only know this because he called me, saying that girl is trouble. Anyway, this long year comes to an end, and we all need to go back to our countries. Before that, we need to calculate our final expenses. The way it works in Spain, they only check your gas and water twice a year, I think. In the meantime, you pay an estimate, and when they check they adjust. And you either pay more or receive money back. To simplify the calculations, I had been the one paying all the bills every month. Then once they checked the gas and water and we had the correct number, I'd be able to calculate exactly how much they owed me, trying to avoid any complaints from the Russian girl, who I was sure would think I was cheating her somehow. I made the clearest table possible. Every bill was attached to it. The final thing you need to know for this to make sense is that halfway through the year, a friend of mine found himself with nowhere to live. I had an extra mattress, so I told him he could stay with me until he found a new place. He only stayed for 3 weeks in my room, but he is the tidiest person I know. So he was cleaning the apartment, he would surprise us with dinners, etc. My other 2 roommates actually told me we should kick the Russian out and have my friend move in permanently with us. Eventually, he found a new place and left us. So, when I was calculating the expenses, I thought it would be nice to just deduct $10 from what each flatmate owed me, to compensate for the extra water, gas, electricity he spent. It was way generous. There's no way his presence added $30 to our bills. But I did it anyway. After doing that, the final total was something like $352 per person. I told them to just round it down to $300, thinking I was the most generous landlord they'd ever find. Of course, the Russian girl wasn't happy. She told me she didn't think it was fair that I was just guessing it, that my friend has stayed for almost a month. So I should recalculate it, but divide 1 month by 5 instead of 4. I was just rolling my eyes, like it must be so exhausting being you. So I was like, okay, let's do it together, so you don't think I'm cheating you. She Saturday by me and we revised the accounts, and voila, by doing it her way, she now owed me more. It was just like $5 more, but of course, I didn't round it down this time. I had her give me every last cent. When the world is dark and I'm depressed, one of my favorite memories to go back to is her face as she was handing me those final worthless coins. And let's get to the last story. You have to pay for that. So I was talking to S friend about my days working at the Golden Arches and remembered this. Now, I was hired when I was 18, older than the usual crew, but could work the overnight 10 divided by 11 p.m. 7 a.m. On these shifts, there's usually only a kitchen crew member, me and a manager on with a service staffer only sometimes. These shifts were a little unpredictable and could go from dead quiet for hours then to cars at once 180 nuggets and like 6 quarter-pounders each or large sporadic rushes, particularly on the Friday, Saturday nights around to 3 a.m. Now most managers were pretty chill, let me listen to my music and eat on shift rather than take a solid break. S's that left them to take, cook and serve the orders alone. They didn't make me pay for it as I was doing them a favor by gradually taking my meal break while still working. A new manager, I'll call her Dumb Nugget, came on board and decided that they were going to be a stickler for the rules and explicitly told me that if I didn't pay for food that I was stealing and that they would issue me a warning. So the first day with them I paid but took a break, and Saturday down with the food I bought only for a big order to come through and them to demand my help before releasing me back to my break. Managers at my store had 5 overnights in a row then several days off, so I had Dumb Nugget the following night. And the shift went as normal until to .30 when I took my break. Cooked 'em a kickin', they yelled out to make sure I put it through, and paid for it and to leave the receipt on the counter. They were counting stock or something about and didn't trust me? Anyways, did that and Saturday down in the dining section to eat when sure enough we got 8 cars in the drive-thru full of drunk hungry people. Cue malicious compliance. They are putting through the orders to the kitchen and I just sit and watch the screen fill up and go over the page nibbling on my food, enjoying not being on my feet. When they come screaming at me, why aren't you making the orders? This car has been waiting for over 5 minutes and nothing is ready. I just replied that I was on my break, and as I watched in the clock I didn't need to make the orders. They yelled some more about how I was being rude, and that I should be working and helping the store aka them, as I was making the store look bad to the customers for having to wait. I just said something like, well, don't have them wait any longer, and went back to my burger. Did this the rest of the overnights we had together, and they got madder each time, getting stuck doing it all by themselves. It was quite entertaining. Now, while I did enjoy their own sticking to the rules causing them trouble after Dumbnugget was done with their overnights and I working with one of the chill dudes, I told them how they're gonna want to give Dumbnugget the what's up as to staff food shift or all their overnights are going to suck. Apparently, they talked because next time with them they didn't make me pay and things were a lot smoother for them from there on out. TLD, our manager was a stickler for rules on paying for food on the graveyard shift. So I was a stickler for not working during my break. There was a rush, they got slammed, and I didn't till many shifts later they changed their ways. That's it for today, thanks for watching.